The following program is brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Today, the topic on the table is the price of gold. Before we get into that, though, Ken, first of all, it's always good to welcome you aboard to be able to talk with you about the state of the economy and what we can do to preserve our wealth. Good to be with you.
Yes, thanks, Dave. Well, it's front and center for every single American out there. It's very important, and I'm glad to be with you here today.
We have had very mixed economic news. Once again, we've seen how fickle Wall Street can be. We've seen international news drastically affect Wall Street. We saw Wall Street hit a new high and then retreat very, very quickly. We've seen news about ongoing COVID concerns. There's so much going on in the economy, and so much of the news causes us to pause and, well, not tremble, but certainly have some real concern about what's going to happen with our personal economics as well. How can you shed some light on what's been going on during the week?
Well, it feels a little chaotic. For sure. You have, what's going on in Afghanistan, which is, not working out well. People see it. We have inflation, which people see it. We have printing of money, just spending and spending and spending. I don't know if people realize this, but the main central banks of the world, Dave, in the last year have thrown about $30 trillion onto their balance sheets out of thin air to combat economy, combat pandemic, combat whatever. So there seems to be a disconnect, and there seems to be something that's right around the corner that will happen.
Ken, we've talked in previous programs about the value of gold as a hedge against a very uncertain and some might say a dangerous economy. We've talked about the necessity of diversifying investments as a shield against an economic collapse. And we've taken what I think is an eye-opening look at the U.S. debt and how dangerous it can be for our individual financial health. Now, today, since we've been telling listeners about the advantages of owning gold, let's talk about the price of gold. And I'm putting quotation marks around the words price of gold, which I will explain in a few moments, though. First, let's review. Why is the ownership of gold today so important?
Well, that's a great relevant question, Dave. And remember back in 1972, 71 timeframe, Nixon took us off the gold standard, and we basically became a society and a market of paper. Everything we have is paper and debt. And that's very important because that started the big fall of the US dollar. And I think the ownership of gold is necessary and vital for every single American. And keep this in mind. The price of gold, Dave, reflects the devaluation and the debasement of our paper currency. Think of gold as money. And remember, every paper currency throughout history that's been debased, like we're doing now, has failed. That's very, very important. If we look at the price of gold, gold was around $38 in the early 70s. In 1999, it was about $250. And today it's close to $1,800.
Wow.
It's easily outperformed, Dave, the dollar tremendously in the last 50 years. And the more they print, the more debt that's taken out, the more gold will outperform, over the next few years. It's very, very important. We have a fiat currency system. People have to understand we have financial chaos in our future, and you have to protect yourself.
You have said that since 1972, when we got off the gold standard, we abandoned the gold system for the backing of our currency. But when I was a child, I had this image of stacks and stacks of gold bars safely secured at Fort Knox, the wealth of our nation, the gold that our paper money represented. Are you saying that that is no longer true?
Well, what I'm saying, Dave, is no one really knows. That gold at Fort Knox, which the government claims to own, it hasn't been audited since 1974, so no one really knows. I mean, and that was a peekaboo audit. It was a glance. No one really knows what really exists today. And that's what's so scary. It kind of feels like our whole financial system, no one really knows. And that is not what money is supposed to be. Money is supposed to be trusted. Money is supposed to be stable and strong. And I mean, China could own literally over 20,000 tons of gold. In the U.S., we don't know.
Wow. This is the Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. Can you maintain that the debt situation today, the national debt, which is climbing higher and higher, is dire, unfixable, and that an implosion is inevitable?
It seems like a huge weight that is going to end very badly. It seems massive. It's like the mother of all bubbles. It's global, Dave. Everyone is drowning in debt. Governments, corporations, even individuals. All the debt levels are at historical highs when it comes to debt. The problem is this: you can't fix debt by issuing more debt. Any problem we have today, print money. Any problem over the world, print money. Paper assets today, Dave, are extremely risky. We've seen exponential money creation. That means exponential risk. Markets are very, very dangerous, and you're starting to see stocks sell off. We'll see if that continues. With all the debt and the leverage that's out there, Dave, and this historical high valuations of all markets on any metrics that you look at were historically overvalued. It's doomed to fail. And like I said, we are in the mother of all bubbles, and who knows when it's going to pop. It could happen at any time.
Well, I got to say, with all that you are warning us about, I am glad to say that in a few minutes, I know that you're going to give us some good news, some news that can give us hope. And that's coming up, so keep listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group.
Sebastian Gorka here. The Biden-Harris administration is governing through an unprecedented number of executive orders. We have a good idea of what their agenda means for the country and for your finances. More debt, more regulations, slower growth, and higher taxes. There's even talk of a digital wallet currency and a so-called Great Reset. With massive new spending programs, the Fed is printing money even faster than before. This will likely cause the dollar to fall and gold prices to rise. That's why it's never been more important to own physical gold and silver, and the dealer I trust to do business with is veteran-owned Midas Gold Group. The experts at Midas Gold can even help you convert a portion of your IRA into physical gold and silver to stabilize your portfolio against the coming storm. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. If you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's an easy one to remember, isn't it? MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. If you want to write that down by the numbers, 855-322-4653. Ken, over the past few weeks, we have looked at several beautiful gold and silver collectible coins that are worth a lot of money. But looking through your website today, I came across a most unusual piece with a very unusual name. It's called the Gold Valcambi Combi Bar. It's not a coin, but rather it's a sheet of gold about the size of a credit card, and I've never seen anything like it. What's the story here?
Well, Dave, until you actually see it, it's an extremely unique product. As you know, you and I in the last many shows have talked about different types of coins and different types of bars for wealth preservation. This is another product for wealth preservation, but it kind of seems like it's a little bit more of a useful product. I believe the gold Valcambi Combi bar should be part of every disaster preparation kit. And I'll explain why. It's similar to the size of a credit card, like you said. It's the perfect resource for investors who are seeking a convenient way to obtain gold, Dave, in a divisible increment at a very good price. And when I mean divisible increment, this almost looks like a chocolate gold candy bar. It's 50 1-gram bars. It's a grid. It's fashioned in such a way that each square, Dave, can be broken off into exact 1 gram of gold without getting any loss of the gold material itself. If you have a coin or a bar and you wanted to sell a little of it in the future, it's not like you can shave a little piece of it off, right?
Right.
So this particular product addresses that need. It's very unique. It comes in a nice container. Valcambi is a top mint in Switzerland. This is a 24 karat gold product. The quality is very high. Each square, literally, Dave, is hallmark stamped individually. It's 4.9 purity. It's very sleek. It's very modern. This is strong enough. These miniature gold bars are strong enough to keep each gold bar intact. But the best part of this is it could be sold, exchanged, gifted. It could be used for any transaction. We think, Dave, that this gold Valcambi Combi bar, it provides investors with extreme flexibility during a financial crisis. And inevitably, I'm sorry, folks, we are headed towards a financial crisis.
You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. And Ken, the gold Valcambi Combi bar comes, as you said, from Switzerland. It's not just chocolate, although you described it kind of like a bar of divisible chocolate. Switzerland is famous not only for its chocolate, but it's famous for its gold. It comes from that part of the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a great quality product, and it also comes in silver. You know, it qualifies, the gold and silver combi bars. They qualify for a retirement account as well and an IRA. But it's a very unique modern product. They're very popular. Valcambi, Dave, is one of the largest gold refiners in Switzerland. Their products are very highly regarded. They are a global player when it comes to refining precious metals. They have great artistry. They guarantee all of their products. Their products are very high quality. We trust Valcambi with many different bars, many different types of products. And the gold Valcambi Combi bar is very unique. Every time someone sees it, or every time somebody comes into the office and we have some on display, they are intrigued. They are fascinated because it is that kind of product. And as you know, Dave, here at Midas Gold Group, all of our products are brand new condition, original mint packaging. This product is a SAID, comes with a certification cards to guarantee their authenticity. It's the highest quality products that we like to recommend to our clients. We're very happy with the Valcambi Combi bar products. It's definitely something people should consider for wealth preservation.
Ken, my wife and I are buyers of gold through Midas Gold Group, and she brought up what may be one of the most pertinent questions when it comes to buying gold. When I first brought up the subject with her, her first question was, what are we going to do with gold? We can't exactly use it for grocery shopping. So what would you say to her?
Well, I'd say your wife is a smart woman, and she has a a question that a lot of people are kind of thinking about these days. But I would say you always think about gold as money, okay? And if our dollar crashes, I don't know what you're going to be able to buy at the grocery store with that either. I would encourage people to think of gold as something that you could hold on to and control, something that will build value over time, something that you could always sell back to Midas Gold Group at a fair market value, whatever that is at that particular time. Gold has always been convertible, Dave, into any currency. And who knows what money's going to look like 5 or 10 years from now? No one does. But you want to have options, But the fact is this: tell your wife her paper dollar is falling. Her dollar is going to buy less at that grocery store tomorrow, next week, a lot less possibly in the future. Paper assets are extremely risky. Goldbacks, greenbacks, what we've heard a lot lately, are very, very risky. Gold is money through financial chaos, which is in our future, and it's necessary at this particular time. I would tell her that.
Coming up in just a moment, we're going to talk specifically about the price of gold. And I want you to know that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group.
I'm here with Midas Gold Group's senior trader and Marine Corps veteran, James Clark. James, why are people investing in gold and silver?
Well, Dr. Gorka, the Federal Reserve supplies money to pay for congressional spending. As Congress expands spending, the Fed has no choice but to keep printing money at an accelerated rate. This causes the dollar to fall and gold to increase.
So as the Fed and Congress devalue the dollar, what can people do?
As the nation's #1 veteran-owned precious metals dealer, we offer diversification strategies in the form of precious metals. As Congress looks to the Fed for more money, investors look to gold and silver to protect their nest egg.
And I recommend that you look to Midas Gold Group for all your precious metal needs. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we continue now with The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. If you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, by the way, we encourage you to come and visit our local office to meet with us in person. We would love to talk with you face to face. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, just call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. And by the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. So far today, we've talked about the necessity of having gold, physical gold, as a part of your financial portfolio. And we've highlighted the gold Valcambi combo bars. I love those. Now, Ken, let's get to the matter that I have been promising, and that is the price of gold. And earlier I said price of gold is in quotation marks. Why is that?
Well, people always ask what the price of gold is, and it's a very relevant question. But what people have to understand is that the price of gold reflects the debasement of our paper money, the devaluation of our paper money. That all started in 1972. Started to accelerate. Nixon said, take us off the gold standard. It's temporary for the betterment of the dollar. Well, 50 years later, we've seen what happens. At that time, gold was $38 per ounce. In 1999, gold was about $250 per ounce. Now, Dave, gold today is approaching $2,000 per ounce, which we think it'll be by the end of the year. If you consider all of the money that's been printed, Dave, money supply, gold today is as cheap as it was back in 1972. $25,000 invested in gold in 1972 is worth $1.2 million today. $25,000 invested in gold in 1999 is worth over $160,000 today. At the same time, paper currencies have lost 97% of their buying power versus gold since 1972.
Wow.
And we feel, Dave, yes, gold should be $3,000 to $10,000 in the future to reflect the debasement of our paper money. A case could be made, Dave, for tremendous upside for gold. But once again, We're not buying gold for profit potential. If it happens, great. We're buying it for wealth preservation, protection. Gold will get you through financial chaos, and chaos is starting.
So, what I hear you saying about gold is that it is a way to protect our wealth, but you're not saying that gold is a way to make money?
If it happens, great. But the dollars in your bank, Dave, or under your mattress or wherever you keep them, paper dollars, they are a guaranteed loser. It will buy less in the future, and your dollar will possibly buy a lot less with all this printing, all of this debt, which is not sustainable. The dollars, greenbacks, offer no return. They will buy less going forward. And basically, who knows, they could just disappear. We would encourage people, Dave, everybody that's listening out there, investors, to look at gold as money, not as an investment or a speculation. If it makes us a profit, terrific. But Dave, based on its long track record, gold will at a minimum keep your buying power, keep your purchasing power, and the dollar will not. How many times this week have you heard inflation is at a 29-year high? 29-year high.
You are listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo. And Ken, to summarize, governments are printing money without any tangible assets backing their currency, and government spending along with social program giveaways are adding trillions. That's not millions, that's not billions, that's trillions of dollars to budget deficits that cannot be paid for without significant additional taxation or economic collapse. In other words, the U.S. debt is enormous, leading to a possible implosion.
Well, that's the sad fact, Dave. And it's just spiraling now out of control. There's nothing that they can do except print more and more and more. Our fiat currency system is sadly failing. The only answer to this, Dave, that the Fed has is to print more money and to support all of this toxic debt. And what's really important is who's going to be left to own all of this toxic debt. You know, the Federal Reserve bought over 50% of the U.S. Treasury bonds put on the market last year from the U.S. government. So besides the Fed, no foreign countries want our debt anymore. I mean, who's going to buy all of this debt? And our system depends on debt. And as you can tell, maybe we'll save the answer to that question for another show. I think people would probably be surprised who could be left holding the bag.
In Midas Gold Group, you can help diversify some of my assets to protect my wealth?
Well, that's what we do every day, Dave, and that's what gold does. That's the role of gold. Every American needs to own gold right now. Defense is in order, and I would urge them to make that call and start learning on how to protect your wealth.
And that is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. This is always a very informative time together. Now, a reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD. Here it is once again, 855-322-GOLD. And again, by the numbers, 855-322-4653. Ken, thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
My pleasure, Dave. Nice to talk to you.
I'm Dave Dino. I invite you to join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.